Okay, so we're going to go ahead and take a look at drawing flowcharts, and we're going to use a site called Draw.io. There's a couple different software that you can use to do flowcharting. The open source one for cross-platform is called Dia. Okay, so Dia Diagram Editor is another good choice for this, but in our case we're going to use Draw.io. Okay, so this is what it looks like when you first open up. You can close the bar down at the bottom. You can also choose where to save it. For our purposes, we just want to download an SVG or a PDF of our flowcharts. We're just going to click Device. Okay, and we're going to go Create New Diagram. Okay, now there's actually quite a few that we can use. We can actually go to Charts and we can get a flowchart. Oops, we can click Flowchart and we can actually get a sample flowchart here. We're just going to go ahead and make our own, so we're going to do Basic Blank Diagram and then Create. Okay, so here's our chart. Notice we have we have our grid lines we can turn on and off. Background image we can do. You can also change the size of it. We're going to leave everything the same. Okay, so the very first thing we have here is we have an ellipse. Okay, so that's how we're going to start and end our program. So we're going to put begin. Okay, begin program. Okay, and then we're also going to have an ellipse for our end. Okay, so we're going to end the program. A lot of times people have also have a program name. In our case, we're going to have a program name. We're going to call it which is greater. Okay. So in this program, basically, we want to be able to. So we have this. We're going to come up with this algorithm, right? Okay, and we have this question, and the question is, given three numbers, find which is the greatest number. Okay, so that is our flowchart there. And we're going to call it our algorithm. Okay, because that's what we're trying to do. Okay, so here we go. So we can notice that we can change the size of this stuff. So we're going to make this a little bit smaller. Notice that my text kind of spills out. We can also go in and we can change the text. So notice when this is highlighted on the right here, we can go in and change this down to 8 point or whatever. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do, so that's our terminal, our stop and start of our program. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to get, we're just going to go ahead and get 3 values. Now we could go ahead and say, oh, we're going to declare variables and this and that, but we're going to keep it simple. Okay, so we're not going to talk about variables or anything else. So we're going to get, this is our input here. So input and output blocks are this parallelogram. Okay, so we're going to get input X, input Y, we're even going to say get input. Usually in flowcharts we're going to use plain English, so get input X, get input Y, and get input Z. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and make the text a little bit bigger so we can see it. Alright, so there we go. Okay, so there's our input. Okay, now the next thing we're going to do is that we're going to go ahead down and we're going to make some kind of decision, right? Okay, so here's our decision. Our decision's a diamond, okay? And we're going to say, is X greater than Y? Okay? All right. And if X is greater than Y, if we have a true, okay, we're going to go down to another decision down here. Okay, so in this case, this is our true line, right? Okay, that's true. Okay, and this is going to be, and we're going to have another decision down here, and this is going to be if it's false, right? So we're going to take the arrow down here. And that's going to be false. Okay, so we have our true and our false. And in this case, so if x is greater than y, then we just need to figure out if x is greater than z, right? Is x greater than z? Okay. And on the other side, if it's false, so we know y is greater than x, then we need to know is y greater than z, right? Okay, and in this case, so if so in this case, so we know that if x is greater, oops, sorry, so we forgot to put in our lines here, so we need a flow line between each, so we know which way our program is flowing. So we got our from the beginning to the get input, and we have the get input to the decision. Okay, so we have this x is greater than y, we have y is greater than z. Okay, so now, so let's see where we're at. Okay, so we right here, we know x is greater than z. Okay, so we know x is greater than y. If that's true, x is greater than z. Okay, so if we know that that is true also, then we know that, then we're going to go ahead and print. So that's a process, right, which is a rectangle. So we're going to say print x. Okay, so that's our, now watch, we can go ahead and copy. So I just highlighted the error, we copy and paste, right, so we don't have to type our true again. Okay, so that's our true. Okay, and if it's false, we know that z is less than x, right? Okay, or sorry, we know that z is greater than x, right? Okay, so we're going to go ahead and print z in that case. I'm just copying and pasting there. Okay. Okay, so that's our false. Okay, and then we can come over here and we can go, well, if y is greater than z is false, okay, then we know that z is greater than y. Okay, assume that z is the largest. All right, and then finally, you can actually hold down the shift key, or sorry, hold down the control key to select more than one thing. Oops, I only got the text box in that one. Okay, and finally, if we know that y is greater than z is true, then we know that z is the greatest number, and we can go ahead and pull that over here. Okay, so there we have it. So we go print x, print z, and print y. And then finally, we're going to go ahead and we're going to actually take these down. We always have to end our program, right? So it has to terminate at some point. It just can't go on forever, right? Okay, so at this point, we're going to go ahead and end the program. Basically, all paths lead to end program in the end. Okay, so that is our flowchart. Now we could make it look a little bit nicer, but in the end, that's our flowchart. Now we're going to keep it pretty simple, okay? We're going to go ahead and, actually, you know what? I made a mistake. We can go ahead and, this print x, print z, and print y were all outputs, right? And I used the wrong symbol there, so it should have been a parallelogram. Okay, print x, whoops. Print z and print y. Okay, and so in this place we didn't really have any processing of data. Okay, so let's say that we wanted to add in some kind of processing, just for an example. Let's say we wanted to make these whole numbers. Okay, so let's say we wanted to round them all off to the nearest whole number. Okay, let's say we had a case where people could put in literally any number, and we wanted to go ahead and just consider the whole portion of those numbers. So we might say round number to nearest whole number. Okay? Nearest integer. Okay, so that might be an example of processing the data. Alright, so there we have it. This is a good example of flowcharts. We have our basically our basic shapes, our program start and end, right? Our algorithm start and end. We have our input and output, which is the parallelogram. We have data processing, which is this rectangle, and we have decision points, which is the diamond. Okay, I hope that helps on flowcharting. Good luck.